What's going on, NBA fanatics? This is your friendly neighborhood Memphis Grizzly homer, Memphis X, and I talk hoops. The 2022 NBA draft is over. We are, less than a week away from free agency. And the fuse that's going to light up free agency and the trade market is one Mr. Kyrie Irving. We're going to talk about it. But first, every hero needs their theme music.
KeyAno.
Grizz gang, go hard. Baddest in the game, we be on one. I talk hoops, so secure. All up on the court, but we gon' score. Memphis bringing heat straight from Tennessee. Demo respect and let's go.
So, free agency has started. Everybody told us that there were going to be all these trades during draft week. All these trades were going to happen. All these players were going to change hands. All these all-stars and borderline all-stars are on the market. You got DeAndre Ayton. Who else you got? DeJounte Murray. The guys from Indiana. You just got a lot of all-stars and borderline all-stars available for trade. And it looked like it was going to be a lot of movement going into the draft. And then, boom, the Brooklyn Nets decide they were going to play hardball with Kyrie Irving and his next contract. And this didn't sit well with one Mr. Kyrie Irving. So he started to make a little noise and sending off his little missives through the NBA media about, I don't know if it's through his agency, because his agent is his mother-in-law, I think, or his sister-in-law. I can't remember which one. He started sending out his missives through the NBA media that he might want to trade to leave the Brooklyn Nets. Now, I was listening to Brian Windhorst talking about this, and he's saying that the Brooklyn Nets were prepared for this very, very scenario. And the way he made it seem like is they had already talked to Kevin Durant about it. Might be true, might not be true. He didn't want to say specifically on the record that they had talked to Kevin Durant about it, but he insinuated that they had because they knew this was coming. So the question remains is, are Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving tied at the hip? Kyrie Irving has put out a list of teams that he would like to be traded to since the Nets seem unwilling to give him a long-term secure contract. So he has a list of teams that he would like to be traded to at this time. I think you got the Lakers on there, the Clippers, the Knicks, the 76ers, the Heat. You got a few teams on there. Of course, you don't have any teams like the Sacramento Kings or something like that, which would probably be his best way to expedite a trade and get his money. But, this is the NBA. Players don't just want their money. They want their money and their preferred destination too. So this is the game we play. So it is Saturday morning. Free agency kicks off Thursday evening, 6 o'clock Eastern time, 5 o'clock my time. Kyrie Irving has until Wednesday to opt in to the final year of his contract, which will pay him more than $36 million. Or he can opt out and become an unrestricted free agent. And at this time, nobody really knows what he's going to do. And with Kyrie Irving, you can't tell what he's going to do. So the question remains, will Kyrie force a trade by becoming an unrestricted free agent? Or will he push the Brooklyn Nets to trade him in a opt-in and trade where he opts in to his $36 million option for next season and gets traded to another team so it won't trigger the hard cap on that team, and then he can extend with that team later on in the year. Now, it seems like the options are unlimited for him, but they really aren't. According to some reports, other teams have already bowed out.
But I think that list in terms of teams like Dallas, Philadelphia, the Clippers, I don't think there's interest there. The Knicks, they have some priorities well ahead of Kyrie Irving. Jalen Brunson is what, with Dallas, is who they are trying to clear cap space to sign in free agency, not Kyrie Irving right now.
Wow, but I can't see them turning down Kyrie if there's a possibility, because the Knicks seem to love that superstar talent.
I think the Heat, the Clippers, the Sixers, and some other teams have already bowed out, saying that they have no interest of dealing with Kyrie Irving. But one team that does have interest in dealing with Kyrie Irving is the Los Angeles Lakers. And people are dismissing it. Now, according to reports, the Brooklyn Nets have offered Kyrie a 2-year, I think it was an $84 million extension, which is good. I think that's if he opts out. They're going to give him 2 years, $84 million. Which is good, but that's $84 million of guaranteed money, and people have been poo-pooing his threat to sign with the Lakers for the taxpayer mid-level, which is about 6.3, and they're saying, well, he's going to lose $30 million, which is true. Now, if he has an agreement in principle that the next season, when the Lakers will have max cap room as Russell Westbrook comes off their books, he will be able to sign with the Lakers and make up all that money, especially if he signs a 4-year deal. If he signs a 4-year deal, $150 million, boom, he's made up that money. The $30 million he lost, and made up some more. And the Lakers get to extend their window of competing. They can lock down LeBron for a longer term, and everything's good in La La Land. But is that really going to be an option for Kyrie? I know that is probably his zero dark 30 option. What's the other option? The New York Knicks. The New York Knicks, of course, are in pursuit of Jalen Brunson. But if that should fail and Dallas decides to keep him, or he decides to stay in Dallas and just uses the Knicks as a leverage point to get as much money as he possibly can out of Dallas Mavericks for 5 years, then the New York Knicks will be sitting there with all this cap space, having traded a lottery pick to open up cap space, and nothing tantalizing to spend it on. What would be more tantalizing to the New York Knicks than stealing Kyrie Irving from the Brooklyn Nets? Ooh, my. Wouldn't that be juicy? That would stay in the news cycle in the NBA and on ESPN and on every sports show forever. And people are saying, why would the Knicks want to get into the Kyrie Irving business? Well, the Kyrie Irving business doesn't have to be permanent. You have a ready-made alternative for the Kyrie Irving business. You sign Kyrie Irving in the offseason. Let's say you sign him for a 4-year, $160 million contract, or whatever you're capable of giving him. You trade away a little pick to clear some cap space, and you sign Kyrie Irving. Boom. You get the headlines, you sell tickets, the Madison Square Garden crowd gets a show with Kyrie Irving, and at the trade deadline, you just move Kyrie Irving on to the Lakers for 1 first-round pick, or how many ever first-round picks you use to clear your cap, and you recoup your first-round picks. You get rid of Kyrie Irving, and you're back in the free agency game the next year. Or if it's working out fine and everything is going as you would like it, then boom, you have Kyrie Irving locked up, and you have a player that can maybe get other players to want to come to New York. I mean, you'll have Kyrie Irving, RJ. You'll have a good base of players that you might even compete for the playoffs again. So, What does this have to do with the Memphis Grizzlies? Well, we're going to talk about that next. This is Memphis X with iTalkHoops. While you're here, subscribe to my channel and hit that bell for notifications so you will be alerted to all the new videos I have coming up during this NBA offseason. We have a goal on this channel to get to 1,000 subscribers before the new season starts, and I'm going to need your help to get there. Thank you. Now, y'all know that I'm Memphis X, and I'm a fan of a small market NBA team. And as such, I ain't trying to give no shine to these big market teams who get all the press from all the regular media anyway. So why am I talking about Kyrie Irving? What does it matter to you? What does it matter to me? How does it affect the Grizzlies? Well, boom, this is how. Vegas has put out the line on the favorites for Kevin Durant's next team. And of course, Miami Heat are number one at plus 250. And guess who's number two? That's right, your Memphis Grizzlies at plus 400 are the second favorite to be the next team of one Mr. Kevin Durant, one of the greatest scorers in NBA history, and one of the top 5 players in the game now. Now, what this hinges on is Kyrie getting shaky and bolting Brooklyn and having Kevin Durant looking elsewhere to compete, because Kevin Durant knows, everybody knows, that his legacy is on the line. He's got 2 to 4 seasons, 2 to 4 good seasons to be able to get a ring without Stephen Curry. You got to do it for his legacy. We're talking big boy stuff here. This isn't just, who's going to make the All-Star game or runner up and trying to get the MVP or stuff like this. We're talking about trying to get in the pantheon of the top 10 players to ever play this game, to try to be one of the top 10 to 15 players to ever play this game, to have your name on everybody's mouth, on the tip of everybody's tongue when they're talking about the greatest to ever do it 10 seasons from now, 20 seasons from now, 30 seasons from now. Because I remember some of the great players that were coming up in the 90s. People don't even talk about them anymore because they didn't put their mark on the game. Charles Barkley, even players like Scottie Pippen, who won championships but could never get it done without Mike. It's certain things you have to do to cement your legacy. Stephen Curry, goated, cemented, legacy is secure. Ain't no questions about him. Can't be questioned right now. Kevin Durant, yeah, he's got some work to do. And it has nothing to do with individual accolades. He can score a bajillion points. It won't matter. He can go deep in the playoffs. It won't matter. He has to win a chip without one Mr. Stephen Curry. Now, what will make it even sweeter for Kevin Durant and his legacy to be able to go through Stephen Curry on the way to that championship. That's right. And what is the best places to do it? Miami? Maybe. But they're a little old. You're going to depend on Jimmy Butler to be able to keep playing at this level at his advanced age for next year, the year after that. Because it might not happen year one. You need a runway, 2 to 3 years, where you'll be able to compete. Yes, Miami is a destination city in the NBA. They will be able to draw free agents. But how many are you going to draw? How are you going to get there? Are the Nets even going to trade you to an Eastern Conference team? Now, according to one report, KD's favorite destination is the Phoenix Suns, which would be a good destination. But the Suns are owned by Cheapo. Is he going to pay Kevin Durant, Devin Booker a Supermax, Chris Paul? What's he going to do? Was you going to trade Mikal Bridges and DeAndre Ayton for Kevin Durant, or you going to try to trade? Are you going to try to keep Mikal Bridges? Just trade DeAndre Ayton? How is it going to work? Do people really think the Phoenix Suns are going to all of a sudden pay 20 to 25 million over the luxury tax threshold and field a team and pay a big luxury tax bill even for a championship contender? I think not. So why not Memphis? Memphis, second best team in the league last year. They have a budding superstar MVP candidate in Ja Morant. They have a young roster with depth. They have a plethora of picks to give to the Nets. And they are already set up to be the Warriors' most hated rivals. And of course, Kevin Durant will fit right in with the Twitter finger gang, because the Grizzlies and Mr. Kevin Durant like to get down on Twitter. He would fit right in with the gang, and he would be a special fit because this is the guy the Grizzlies have been looking for. Hell, for 10 seasons since Grit and Grind? This is the guy. Hell, since Pau Gasol. A high-scoring wing with size. Kevin Durant would fit right in. If the Grizzlies could somehow keep Bane and Jaren Jackson, I wouldn't care what else they had to give up. Give me Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, whoever, Kevin Durant, and Jaren Jackson. I don't care. And guess what? The Grizzlies have a recruiter on the roster, Mr. Steven Adams, who was already a teammate of Kevin Durant. A recruiter. So, that's why the saga of Mr. Kyrie Irving matters to me, to Grizzlies fans. And it's going to matter to the Western Conference race that we're going to talk about all season long. And in the big picture, it might matter to the NBA title race. So tell me what you think. Where is Kyrie Irving going to end up this offseason? Is he going to stay in Brooklyn? Escape to LA? Stay in New York to play for the Knicks? Are the Nets just going to let him walk for nothing? Or are they going to try to recoup some of their assets and see if they can get enough assets to convince Kevin Durant to stay in Brooklyn and compete for a title in Brooklyn? We're just getting started with the NBA offseason. The draft was wonderful, but the NBA offseason is a freaking drama, and it's just getting started. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit that bell for notifications, and like this video and share it with other NBA fans. This is your boy, Memphis X, and I will be back with you later. Peace.